Ellen and Mitchell had built a beautiful life together in New York, raising their young son, Danny, in a warm and loving home. They lived in a cozy apartment in Brooklyn, where life unfolded in a routine of work, family dinners, and weekend outings. Mitchell worked as a financial analyst, often immersed in reports and stock trends, while Ellen was a freelance writer who spent her days weaving stories from the comfort of their home. Life was steady, predictable, until Mitchell's old college friend, Ryan, started visiting more frequently. Ryan had been a part of Mitchell's life since their university days. He was charming, confident, and carried an air of ease that made him an instant favorite in social settings. Ellen had always known him as Mitchell's closest friend, but recently, she had begun to notice a shift. She caught his lingering glances, the way his eyes traced her movements across the room, the subtle tension in his presence whenever they were alone together. At first, Ellen brushed it off as her imagination playing tricks. But one evening, when she and Ryan were left alone in the living room while Mitchell was putting Danny to bed, she felt an undeniable electricity in the air. Their conversation was casual: books, movies, the latest news, but his eyes held something deeper. And then, as she reached for her glass of wine, their hands brushed. A fleeting touch, but one that sent a shiver up her spine. That night, as she lay in bed beside Mitchell, Ellen found herself questioning everything. Was Ryan truly interested in her? Or was she simply reading too much into a few harmless moments? She knew she shouldn't entertain such thoughts, but there was something thrilling about it, something that made her heart race in a way she hadn't felt in years. The following week, Ellen decided to test the waters. She suggested to Mitchell that they invite Ryan over for dinner. "It's been a while since we had a proper sit-down meal with him," she said casually, hoping her voice didn't betray the anticipation bubbling inside her. Mitchell agreed without hesitation, and the plans were set. When Ryan arrived that evening, Ellen had taken extra care with her appearance, nothing overt, just a little more effort than usual. A fitted dress, a touch of perfume, a sparkle in her eye. As they sat around the dining table, sipping wine and exchanging stories, Ellen felt the tension tighten like a coiled spring. She positioned herself directly across from Ryan, her legs occasionally brushing against his under the table. At first, it was accidental, but as the evening progressed, she made no effort to move away. She watched him closely, noting the way his breathing shifted, the way his fingers hesitated around his glass. Mitchell, oblivious to the undercurrents at play, continued chatting about work and weekend plans, completely unaware of the silent conversation happening right in front of him. Ellen felt a strange mix of exhilaration and guilt. She wasn't sure where this game was leading, or if she even wanted to take it further. But for the first time in years, she felt desired in a way that was intoxicating. As the night drew to a close, Ryan lingered at the door a little longer than necessary. His eyes met Ellen's in a way that spoke volumes, an unspoken acknowledgement of what had transpired between them. She felt the heat rise to her cheeks but forced herself to maintain composure. That night, as she lay next to her sleeping husband, Ellen replayed every moment of the evening. The thrill, the risk, the sheer audacity of it all. Was this just a harmless flirtation, or was she standing at the edge of something much more dangerous? One thing was certain: things between her, Mitchell, and Ryan would never be the same again. The aftermath. Over the next few weeks, Ellen found herself trapped in a whirlwind of emotions. The tension between her and Ryan had grown unbearable, each glance, each casual touch fueling a fire neither of them seemed ready to extinguish. She knew she had to make a choice: either distance herself from Ryan or give in to the temptation that loomed between them. One evening, Mitchell was away on a business trip, leaving Ellen alone with Danny. After putting him to bed, she received a message from Ryan: "I'm outside. Can we talk?" Her heart pounded in her chest as she hesitated before opening the door. Ryan stood there, looking hesitant but determined. "Ellen, I can't stop thinking about you," he admitted, his voice laced with longing. She felt herself being pulled into dangerous territory, but the rush of emotions clouded her judgment. They talked for hours, sharing secrets, fears, and dreams neither had dared to voice before. The attraction between them was undeniable, but Ellen knew she was playing with fire. As the night deepened, she made a decision, one that would determine the fate of her marriage and everything she had built with Mitchell. Would she cross the line, or would she find the strength to walk away before it was too late? A turning point. The days that followed were filled with turmoil. Ellen wrestled with her feelings, struggling to maintain normalcy at home while her mind remained fixated on Ryan. Mitchell, oblivious to her inner conflict, continued his routines, trusting her completely. One evening, she made her choice. She met Ryan at a quiet cafe and told him that whatever they had felt, whatever chemistry existed between them, had to end. "I love my husband, and I can't do this to him," she said, her voice firm despite the ache in her heart. Ryan nodded, understanding the weight of her decision. "I'll respect that," he said, though his eyes betrayed the sadness he felt. Ellen walked away, knowing she had come dangerously close to losing everything. As she returned home to Mitchell and Danny, she resolved to focus on her marriage, to reignite the love that had always been there. The temptation had tested her, but in the end, she chose loyalty over desire. But deep down, she knew that a part of her would always wonder, what if?